Hi guys, John the firearms instructor, and welcome to our channel. Today we're going to be talking all about routines. We're really talking about what you do in the range. What is your system? What is your technique? What are you doing? Are you coming to the range and just shooting? Or do you physically have a plan? Or do you have a system that you try to do? And I want to give you 5 ideas of 5 steps I think you should work on every time you come to the range. Yesterday we were busy and there was a lot of people shooting in here, and I just saw a lot of people banging rounds down range and not putting any kind of system together. And this system would help you tremendously, put you through the sequences you need to do, become more proficient with a pistol. So they're pretty simple. We'll go over them real quick, and I'll define each one of them as we do it. So the very first one will be a warm-up of some kind, and then make sure we're working on stance and grip, sight alignment, sight picture, trigger control, and then at the end we're going to be looking through follow-through. And each one of these has their own little drill or some kind of technique that you can work on. Let's talk about warm-up. Now, what I would do when I got to the range is I would make sure that I had at least 2 magazines and a weapon, and I would try to play around with some 3-inch circles or a 6-inch paper plate. And I would put a distance that I have a little bit of success with. So I start most people out at 3 yards. 3 yards is probably a good distance. That's our first white line at our range. And I would take 4 magazines, and I would be putting 5 rounds at a time, and I would be trying to shoot that weapon with the proper grip and the proper stance in a very slow cadence that allow me to put those rounds together. And what I'm trying to do in this drill here, or this beginning, what we consider warm-up, is I'm trying to tighten that group up as tight as I can. Because realistically, I don't need to have that bullets touching each other. I just need to be able to shoot to make sure I'm hitting all the rounds in the paper plate. And I would do that a couple times until I felt really good. I was really pressing the trigger, and I was really working on those resets, and I was working on keeping the gun level and making sure I'm seeing all my sights. And I'm going to try to run at least, I don't know, somewhere between 20 to 25 rounds as a warm-up. This is like your bucket of balls, guys. If you're a golfer, you don't go out to the range, you don't go out to golf and just go right from your car to the cart to the first tee and hit the ball. You gotta kind of get the feel, man. You gotta warm up a little bit. That's what the stationary bikes are at the gym about. Stationary, warming up your body, stretching out a little bit. These football players stretch for hours before they get out onto the field. Make sure you're doing some kind of warm-up before you start. And then we want to really concentrate on getting that proper grip and proper stance. You know, this proper grip, we've talked about it multiple times. It is 2 thumbs forward. If you're right-handed, most of your power is coming from your non-dominant hand. If you're left-handed, obviously it would come from the right hand. And we want to make sure that we've got some kind of 60-40 split. It's more power on your non-dominant hand than it is on your dominant hand. And I would work on another 2 or 3 magazines, make sure I'm really getting a good grip on that gun. I don't want to over squeeze the weapon, but I want to make sure I'm controlling it. There's a few tells when your bullets are impacting low and left or low and right, what you're doing wrong. If you're low and left, you're anticipating the recoil as you're shooting the weapon. If you're low and right and you're a right-handed student or right-sided targets, you're squeezing too hard with your dominant hand. Remember, your power comes from your non-dominant hand, not your dominant hand. And then I would kind of concentrate on the next thing to be sight alignment and sight picture. And I want to make sure I'm seeing that system as best I can. And I would go down to even a smaller target, and I would work on making sure when I'm cutting that shot that front post doesn't flip, move, wiggle, or anything. Now, gentlemen, you can drive with your pec muscles and control the weapon pretty well. Just drive. Women, you can use your back muscles that press and pull We're trying to keep the weapon level. A weapon that's level will shoot level, and that will help you out tremendously. Trigger control itself, we want to make sure we're using the tip of our finger to engage the trigger, not the crease. The more crease you put in the gun, the more we're going to... And what tends to happen most people is they drive that finger in as they're shooting. And we want to really consistently get that grip. So if we've got a good grip and a good trigger control, the weapon should stay level enough for us to put the shots together. And then the other thing is follow through. I see this a lot out there when someone's got the gun in their hand and they shoot and they kind of look over to see where the target went or see where the bullet impacted. Listen, if you've got everything working for you, you should not have to worry about where the bullet's impacting. You should trust your sight system, and it will definitely make a difference on how you control. You know, putting it all together, this is a great system. Now, what would I do? I would go to the range. I would start out with that warm-up somewhere between, I don't know, 2 to 4 magazines of that. And during the midst of that, I'd make sure I've got my stance and my grip right. I would be keeping sight alignment, sight picture, trigger control all together. And then that follow through is so important because we've got to keep that gun on that horizontal and vertical line. Your horizontal and vertical line is your horizontal line is the line between your eyes. And that vertical line here is the line over your dominant eye. And I've told you many times before, you've got to marry the weapon and the eye together. So I'm pressing this gun out. I want to make sure this weapon is over my dominant eye as best I can. And it will help us tremendously become more accurate with a pistol. These 5 steps could help you build a routine that you can continuously do. Make sure in your range bag you have 3-inch circles, 6-inch circles, and 8-inch circles. And you can do that very easily at the dollar store with a paper plate. Take a paper plate, you can take a small circle, make a big circle, and a larger circle. And the very final thing I would do at the range, and I try to do my range times about 50 rounds, guys. I don't do more than 50 every time I do a range time for me. And most of my training classes are set at 50. You can get everything you need to done with 50 rounds. You're getting a magazine load, magazine reload, you're getting a magazine drop, you're getting a racking of the slide, you're getting slide lock and everything else. Stick to those 5 rounds at a time. That'll make a big difference for you as well. And all this together is building you a routine. Coming to the range blindly and trying to figure out what you're going to do does not help you out tremendously. Remember, habits get picked up fast. A good habit takes a very long time to put yourself into. A bad habit picks up very quickly. So find a new routine that works for you. This is one I gave you, but doesn't mean it has to be this. And make sure that each round counts. And if I'm having problems, or I'm pulling, or I'm pushing, or I'm doing something like that, I want to isolate what's causing that. And it's not one thing that's causing all the problems. If you are pushing the gun out in front of you, and that front post is a little lower than the back post, that's going to cause the low. And if you're putting too much finger in the pistol or too much grip with your dominant hand, those are causing your impacts. One would be an impact to the left, one would be an impact to the right. If you are actually looking and shooting and all your bullets are impacting below your sight alignment, then that's something of a pull of a trigger instead of a press of a trigger. We always talk about slowly engaging the trigger until the weapon fires. This is probably the majority of people's problems. They get into this whole cadence of shooting and they pull the trigger versus press the trigger. I want you to remember one thing. A trigger press is what you want, not a trigger pull. And the real difference is how much pressure you're putting on the weapon. Because these things right here are the only thing contacting the weapon. And they manipulate it more than anything else. So try these 5 little things I gave you today. I think they will help you. If you want to comment below and tell me what you do at the range, we would truly, truly appreciate that. if you like what we're doing, and I hope you do, please don't forget to hit the bell icon, the like, and the subscribe button. And every time we upload a video just like this, you'll be the first to know. If you have an opportunity, please don't forget to tell a friend or a family about our channel. We're here to educate, motivate, and entertain, and I hope we do that for you. Until next time, guys, God bless, be safe, and remember, you are your first line of defense. I love you guys. We'll see you again.